Maybe I'm starting to plateau with the MAF. First Tuesday of the month, it means it's MAF test day. I'm not sure how today will go down after a pretty heavy weekend mileage wise.
He's out doing his MAF test. I've just done the most running I've done in a month since Tarawera. I managed 7Ks. It's amazing what can happen when you run into a mate. It's good morning. Here he is now.
Another MAF test done. Body didn't really want to play today, and there could be a couple of reasons for that, but from about 5.5k, heart rate just kept spiking up to 135, which meant I had to keep hitting the brakes because my aerobic heart rate ceiling is 132. Always allow a couple of beats because I'm only measuring the heart rate off the wrist with the watch. Kept spiking up to 135, and which meant that I had to keep slowing down, and it obviously affected the pace. So I'm a little bit slower than last month's test. Couple of reasons. Maybe I'm starting to plateau with the MAF, which is a possibility. I've been doing it now for about 4.5 months, so that could be part of the reason. Maybe I need to have a look at the intensity of my running from here, or it could be that I'm still feeling the effects from the weekend, and especially Sunday's long run, where a couple of things went wrong. I'll explain what they were later in the video. But just on this MAF test this morning, conditions were perfect again. Did it in the morning, similar to last month. I started out alright, the first 5k, the heart rate was really good. It was in that 132 range, and was sort of rolling along in the 440s per kilometre pace. But 5.5k, the heart rate just kept spiking up. So it's obviously feeling a little bit tired, or I've plateaued on MAF. Still good, still felt really comfortable. Even though the heart rate was getting high, could have kept that pace quite easily or even increased it, but I really wanted to try and stay true to the heart rate this morning, and just kept sort of checking the pace to bring it back to, close to that 132. When it hits 135, that's when it sort of sets off the alarm bells for me. Yeah, so that 135 level sets off the alarm bells for me, and that is an indication that I need to put the brakes on, slow down a little bit, and get that heart rate back under control. So I've got a big month now coming up where I'm ramping up the weekly mileage, the aim to get to 150k for the week in 4 weeks' time. When I do the next MAF test in a month's time, it'll be at the end of that 150 kilometre week. It'll be interesting to see how the body reacts in the next MAF test. We'll go home now and we'll have a look at the results from last month and compare them with the pace per kilometre and also the heart rate. I'll put a link to the first MAF test I did up there in the the right hand corner, so you can see how it was when I first started doing the MAF. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll have links to the previous MAF tests I've done as well. So back home now, and I've had a chance to go through the results of last month and today's MAF, and I'm a little bit surprised because after today's MAF tests I thought that I was quite considerably slower than last month. Having gone through last month's results and then again today, it seems that they're very comparable. Last month I had an average per kilometre of 448 for the 8 kilometre MAF test, with an average heart rate beats per minute of 130, or just over 130, and today was a 449 per kilometre average with a heart rate average beats per minute of 131.5, so pretty close. Now, my first thoughts after that run was that maybe I had plateaued, or maybe that Sunday's run had really affected the body, but it seems that that may not be the case. Maybe in fact I have started to plateau with the MAF, and maybe I need to reevaluate what I'm doing with MAF. I still think that Sunday's run had a little bit of an influence over today's test. A few things went wrong in Sunday's run. Most notably, it was the lack of water early in that run, and it was about 16 or 17 kilometres before I got to a bubbler and had a decent drink. Took on a gel. Had sort of hoped that I'd have a drink around about 8 or 10k, but the bubbler that was there on that long run wasn't working. It wasn't much more than a trickle, so really only got to wet the mouth rather than having a decent drink. So I think what happened later in Sunday's run was that I think the body had started to dehydrate by the time I got to that first drink stop, and sort of about 23k, heart rate really spiked, and from there I sort of really struggled through to the finish. So just gone through about 23k, and I've gone through a patch of high heart rate, so I've eased off the pace, stopped and got a drink just to try and get that heart rate back down a little bit, but yeah, it's a little bit higher than what I would like at the moment. The heart rate spiked up into the mid 130s to the high 130s, and I just wasn't able to get it down. So I think the body was compensating by, the heart was working a little bit harder to pump the blood through the body to help try and keep the body cool, and I just didn't realise at the time. So always learning in this sport. You would think that after so much time running that you would learn these lessons. It took me a long while to realise when I was running a marathon I wasn't drinking enough water, and in some of my later marathons I would take water at every drink stop where it was only a couple of k apart, even if it's just sipping on the water, just to get a little bit of fluid into the body. Sunday it really came back to bite me later on, and just really struggled. So even though I drank quite a lot of water from that 25k point on through to the end of the 40k run, the damage had already been done early. Even though it was cool when I first started on Sunday morning, it's still got to take into account the humidity, and that was probably something that snuck up on me on Sunday. I felt pretty comfortable by the time I got to that first bubbler, and then when obviously I didn't get to have any water there, it was another couple of k until I got to the first real drink stop. Didn't really think it was that warm, but obviously it had affected me a little bit more. The message from Sunday's run is to drink early, drink often, and make sure I keep that body hydrated. I'd seen so much improvement with the MAF tests in the first few months that probably natural that I was going to plateau out, and it seems like I've hit that stage now. Not sure what to do from here on with the MAF, whether I need to introduce some higher intensity or faster pace runs. Needs to be probably a little bit of a juggling act now with my goal of the 100k race in June, but I might just have to inject a little bit more pace into some of my runs, and just to see if I can keep that MAF test improving over the next couple of months. But no, there's no reason to disregard the MAF completely. I think it still has a place in my running towards the 100k in June, and also the Gold Coast Marathon 4 weeks after that. Anyway guys, that's about it for this week. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please smash that subscribe button and the notification bell as well to be notified when the next video drops. Until next week guys, happy running, and I'll see you then. Hooroo.